Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to join my quick webinar. I do this once a month for first-time home buyers primarily, but even I get a lot of people who are buying their second home join as well and get the equal value from here. So I'm going to go through my slide deck. I've got a 1 hour booked, but again, the idea here it is for you is that I want this to be interactive. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. I will be going into the chat from time to time and then answering questions for you, right? Because any questions you have, there is nothing called stupid questions. So any questions you have in your mind, just put it in. I'm going to walk you through the process through my presentation, but put your questions in the chat, say hello in the chat. That way you get familiarized with the chat. Um, you can leave camera off, which is fine. Also, if you want to come online and ask a question, I'm happy to help you with that too. You can raise your hand feature and then I can bring you on and then you can ask question live. But my idea would be that if we do it through the chat and I go back and answer and address every question, that will help and benefit everybody. So let me go through the presentation. So next step. Okay, so quickly, what's happening in Toronto GTA market, right? So I'm just gonna touch on while people are joining as well. Welcome everybody. I know I've started a few minutes earlier. So first, I'm gonna want to talk about the market. What's happening in Toronto real estate market or Greater Toronto real estate market? Is it a good market? Is it a good time to buy or not? A lot of people ask me this question every single day. So there's a lot of things here on this chart. I don't want you to pay attention and get confused with everything. I want you to pay attention to the bottom right corner, which is year over year summary. And that's what I want you to focus on. Sales last month, this is from June 2026. This report is published by Toronto Regional Real Estate Board every month. So this is a report, latest report we have from, sorry, let me admit people. Okay, I need to go back. No, that ain't happening there. So this is a report that our board publishes every year, every month, explaining everything. So pay attention to the bottom right corner for year over year summary. Sales in June 2026, 6,770 homes were sold compared to 6,191 in 2025. So sales are up, basically 9.4% increase in home sales in GTA, Greater Toronto Area. When I'm talking about Greater Toronto Area, that includes Toronto, all the cities around Toronto includes Peel region, which is Mississauga, Brampton, Oakville, and then I'm including the York region, which is Vaughan, Markham, Richmond Hill, and I'm including the East, which is Durham region, Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa. So we are including talking generally all GTA that this data is presenting. New listings are down 12.9%. That's what negative means. Active listings are down as well, negative 13.5%. Price is down 3.9% from last year. Interesting. Average listing days on the market, 29, which are up 11.5%. But I would go to average property days on the market, which remained same from last year. 42 days it takes to sell a home right now. Let me go to this table here. I want you to pay attention to a column called months inventory here in the towards the right, fourth column from the right, and it captures all trap areas. There is 4.7 months of inventory as of today. What it means is if no home comes on the market, for sale in GTA, it's gonna take 4.7 months for us to sell every property on the market right now. That includes condos, detached homes, semi-detached, everything. So anytime this number is 3 and over, it is buyer's market. Okay, so I want to be very clear here. Anytime we've got more than 3 months inventory, it is buyer's market. So, but you see overall number 4.7 is average for all areas. But if you talk about Halton region, which is like Burlington, Halton Hills, and Milton and Oakville, 4.3 months inventory. Peel region, 5 months inventory, which is Brampton, Caledon, Mississauga, City of Toronto, 4.7 months inventory. York Region, 5.1. So overall, this number tells us it's buyer's market, which means it's a perfect time for you to buy a home. That's what I'm trying to kind of say that in this slide. Year over year numbers we talked about, sales are up 9.4%. I touched on that on the first slide that we talked about, but then comparison to previous month, sales are up 1.4% from previous month. From May 2026 to June 2026, there is jump in sales by 1.4%, right? You can see the numbers in the graph. Now, what's happening with the price? We talked about year over year, it's down minus 3.9%. But let's look at month over month. What happened from May 2026 to June 2026? Price has jumped 0.1% compared to previous month. What is that telling you? Prices are starting to jump. Yeah, are they going crazy? Not really, but the idea is we are in the bottom prices market right now, and it'll be good that if we buy a home now, because then you can take advantage of the market because it's buyer's market. You get the lowest price, you get a lot of properties options to select and negotiate a better deal for you. So that's what I wanted to touch on first, so everybody understands what's going on in the market, because I get that question a lot. Let me go to the chat if anybody's got any questions there before I kind of move forward. Let me go to chat. Hi, Nina. Good afternoon. Yes, thank you so much for joining. Good. Yeah, any questions? Put it in the chat. Feel free to do that. I'm just going to put another link in here that is basically gives you an opportunity to book a one-on-one meeting with me. This is the link. I'm just going to put it in the chat. What it means is you guys have the opportunity, because some people have their unique situation that they want to discuss, and they might not be able to necessarily open up here in this session that we have, right? So I'm giving that opportunity. You can click on that link that gives access to my Calendly link. You can book a meeting. It's a virtual meeting that first I do a quick call. It's a Google's Meet call. We do for half an hour. I book it. We talk about it. I answer any questions you have one-on-one, and then we can kind of set up the next meeting and go from there. There is no obligation in that setting up that meeting, but it's basically to address answers if you have any, for any questions that I can answer, okay? All right, let me go back to my presentation, and I'll again go back to the chat from time to time to answer any questions. So if you got any questions, put it in the chat. So this is contents of the presentation. So I'm going to go through that. I will kind of basically, talk through it anyway. So I'm not going to go here. Basically, what I'm trying to achieve here as a real estate agent, my mission always for my clients is find them best home at the best price with the least amount of hassle. How I do that, I've got multiple support systems, which I'm going to go through and talk to you about and guide you through those systems, right? First, quick introduction about me. I received my license in 2007, so I'm almost hitting like 20 years since I've been doing this real estate. I've got, like you can say, like almost 20 years, 2 decades of knowledge and expertise. I live myself in Kleinburg, Vaughan area. My office is in Mississauga, right across from Square One. If anybody wants to meet me, Highway 10 and 403 area, that's where my office is. My home is in Vaughan, right? I did receive Outstanding Achievement Award in 2023. I am accredited, licensed for selling real estate in all over Ontario. So I can't, if you need to buy a home in Ontario somewhere, I'm happy to help. No problem at all, okay? And I'm member of Canadian Real Estate Association. I'm licensed to Real Estate Council of Ontario, okay? So just so you understand, just a quick introduction about me. Okay, let's talk about the team approach, right? So I just want to introduce you to my team, and I'll talk about that when you kind of hire me. You don't get only my services, you get my team services, but I'll share that information too. Here is some facts that I just want everybody to kind of put a perspective together. 72% of the buyers do not go back to the same real estate agent to buy a home again or sell a home again. Why is that? Look at the issues that people face. Poor communication. I'm not going to go through every one of them. Hard to get hold of. never showed my home, poor negotiating skills, too busy, my home didn't sell, didn't do anything I couldn't have done myself. Like people have all these things, that all these issues that agents have created. So I keep this list left, right, and center from me, so you won't have any issue like what I see here in these issues. So, but I want to be sharing and transparent with that list to you. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. Yeah, what other real estate agents do basically, this is typically ABC of real estate. What they would do is they would advertise homes in order to get you to call them. They beg you to come in and talk with them. They choose a bunch of homes they think you will like. They will drive you house to house, showing you some homes. And then they encourage you to make an offer on every house you see. And a lot of people I see get frustrated because home selected, they're not liking. And then the agents are thinking, hopefully you're going to buy something from them, right? That's how other people operate. Because they're a one-man show, right? They've got limited resources, they've got limited time and energy, they're juggling around multiple things. And here is my team, how that comes in play here, that if you get my services, you get services of my whole team. Scott Gilmore, he's my broker. He sits with me in the office in Mississauga. He's been 45 years in the business, still doing real estate actively, and that's where he supports our team. Michelle Gilmore, she's our marketing executive. She does all our marketing for all the agents in the office. We are about 40 agents in our office, right? That kind of, work for Realty executives. Nadia is our deals administrator. She's in our office Monday to Friday, making sure all the deals work through properly, sending paperwork to the lawyer, communicating with the brokerages and the lawyers and the clients to make sure the deal closes successfully. Tatiana Londono, she's my mentor. She's a top producing agent in Montreal. Recently, she's moved herself into Florida real estate as well, but she's my mentor. I get on weekly calls with her to get her mentorship and training. Andrew's our Facebook marketing consultant. He does all my Facebook, Instagram marketing. I think the way you clicked on my ad and you're here today, that kind of tells me his ad is kind of working through Meta Group for Facebook and Instagram. You probably clicked one of those ads there that I was kind of going and showing. Okay, let's go to after the team. Next slide. So the team approach, meaning what idea of team approach here is that you're not getting only my services. I have a full team behind me who's gonna, help you. Accounting team's gonna take care of the accounting piece. Marketing person's gonna take care for our marketing. Admin person's gonna take care of all the paperwork that deal goes through, right? There's nothing missing in the transaction that it doesn't close or it falls through, right? So everybody's got a role to play. That's what I'm kind of sharing the team approach. And other services that I help and offer to a lot of buyers is securing the best financing at the lowest rates for you. And over the years, I have built relationships with the bank mortgage advisors. I've got a CIBC mortgage advisors, actually two of them that I work very close with. They can give you the best rates, get you pre-approved and stuff. I have got an independent mortgage broker as well, because some people need to go to the independent mortgage broker to look at alternative options because banks are a little bit tough to qualify them. So I have that contact as well who can help those kind of clients and go to different lender options and give you the best possible solution for your purchase. Okay, that's what the idea kind of I'm offering here. And my job is basically to negotiate the lowest price and best terms for you with the least amount of hassle, right? That's what basically the idea that I'm helping. Now I'm going to walk you through the home buying process in summary kind of thing. What are the steps one by one that you can understand that what you have to go through? I'm just going to quickly go into the chat just to make sure if there's any questions somebody's put in that I can answer or address. No, I don't see any questions there. Yes, no, I don't see any questions there. Feel free to put in any questions you have, or even feel free to book a meeting. I put in my link in to book a one-on-one meeting with no obligation. So that is there as well for you, okay? Just kind of sharing that information. Okay, home buying process. So let's go through the buying process. First step, and very, very, very important step that I emphasize with all my clients, mortgage pre-approval, right? meet the lender or a mortgage broker. Either it's a bank that you are working through, you can work with your bank. I have no issues whatsoever with that. If you want my help in getting you connected to the mortgage broker, let me know. I can connect you to them. Then you can work independently with that bank lender. As I said, CIBC mortgage broker that I know of, you can work with them and get your mortgage pre-approval. I can connect you to independent mortgage broker as well who can help you. But the idea there for that first step is we get the budget number, what you can qualify for based on your income, your loans, your other obligations, right? Your car payments, your credit card, your credit lines, everything. And also as part of pre-approval, these brokers or the bank lenders, mortgage advisors can lock an interest rate for you also between 90 to 120 days. They can typically do that. And also you can understand what is your monthly payment factor for the mortgage, right? How much it's going to cost you. So what we're trying to get from there is what is the number that you can get qualified for to get a mortgage so you can go and buy that property, right? So that's the idea here. And that helps you not wasting my time or your time. Let's say the bank says you qualify for 800,000, then I'm not showing you $1 million homes. You know what I mean? That's the idea here I'm trying to get. We need to be sure before we go into the process that we get pre-approval in place. Okay. Second step, after we do that, we know the number. Well, yeah, you can buy a home for 800,000. Bank will have no issues giving you a mortgage, or a lender won't have an issue giving you a mortgage. Then we go search for homes. For that, before we get into searching homes, you sign a buyer representation agreement with me. Basically, that's a formal agreement between me and yourself, and it defines a working relationship. It outlines the commission structure. As a home buyer, you do not pay me any commission. I get compensated by the seller. But with me having that buyer representation agreement will help me getting that commission. Once the property sale is closed, you got the keys, that's the time seller will pay me. That's why buyer representation agreement is kind of important from my perspective. Also from your side of things, it will make it clear that what I'm helping you with, we will write on that buyer representation agreement. Also, it can be set for a term for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. You can do whatever time frame we can start. We can end it at a certain date. Also, we can set it for a particular area as well. For example, you want to, buy a home in, let's say, Mississauga. We can sign it just for Mississauga as well, right? So that's basically, and this protects your interests. It basically helps me representing you as a buyer. It clarifies expectations. It ensures full representations and negotiation support that I'm going to help you with, right? Then there's no confusion. There's clear commitment. I'm obligated to protect your interests, and that's my ethical right, and that's what I would do for you. That's after the representation agreement. Okay, let's go to next step. Oops, presentation going back. Okay, third one. Then, okay, once the representation agreement is signed, third step is home search, review listings, analyze comparable sales, we evaluate taxes, condo fees, if it's a condo or a condo townhouse, resale potential, like what can the house sell for down the road when you want to sell in 5 years. Then also I book and attend showings with you, show you property, do the comparable analysis as well, and tell you, well, even though this home's asking for 800, but its value is 750,000, for example, right? So that gives you that perspective and help you along the way to decide what value you should be able to get that house for, right? Once you like a home, then I help you with the offer presentation and submission, right? That's like agreement of purchase and sale. I draft it based on the purchase price we agree on, deposit amount we talk about, closing date, which is the date when you get the keys, you pay the down payment to the lender. Conditions, we talk about what conditions are going to go in agreement of purchase and sale, what is included as part of the purchase, the home, and what else, appliances included and things like that, what is not included, which is exclusions, irrevocable time. There's an offer deadline. We put on a deadline on that agreement and saying to the seller, well, our offer is valid till tomorrow night at 12 o'clock, midnight. If you don't get back to us, our offer is null and void, right? That sort of thing is the revocable time. That's what it means. It's a deadline to offer the offer to the seller. Now, deposit. Typically, how much should the deposit be? This is required within 24 hours of the offer acceptance, right? Let's say we put an offer on a property you like, and we negotiate back and forth between you and the seller. Finally, we have an agreement signed and accepted by all parties. Then you have to pay a deposit. Typically, it's 3 to 5% of the purchase price. Let's say home is 800,000. I would expect it to be at least like $20,000, $25,000 deposit. That deposit goes toward your down payment. It gets held in listing brokerage trust account, and lawyers will be able to withdraw that and apply towards your down payment on the closing date. Okay, so that's why that deposit is very important, that you have to be ready with that money for 24 hours to pay. Because I see a lot of people tell me after the fact and say, well, sorry, my money's locked, I can't get it for 2 days. No, I need to know that beforehand, because when we put it in the offer, standard timeline is 24 hours. If we are looking for 48 hours, we need to change that in the offer when we submit, and it has to be agreed by the seller. If seller doesn't agree, then we have to pay it within 24 hours. Okay, so to make it clear. Conditions. What conditions do we put in as part of the offer? We put in typically financing approval. Even though you can have a pre-approval, but you still need a final approval from the lender or the bank. So that's why we would put a financial approval clause in there. Home inspection clause, because we want to inspect the home by independent home inspector to make sure structurally there's nothing wrong with the house. We also put a status certificate condition in case of a condo, where if we are buying a condo townhouse or a condo apartment. Status certificate is basically giving us the documents for the corporation who is managing the property. And then that status certificate, once we get it, we show it to the lawyer who's going to close your transaction, to make sure that corporation is a good corporation, sound corporation. They have enough balance or funds in their account in case some repair comes or whatever the case may be. There are no lawsuits against that corporation and things like that. Very important step when you're buying a condo. Typical timelines, 3 to 10 days we put in for these conditions. The idea is in those 3 to 10 days, you get a firm mortgage approval, we remove the financing condition. You get the inspection done, and if you're fine with the inspection, we waive the inspection condition. Lawyer reviews the status certificate and tells us, yeah, it's a good corporation, you guys can move forward. We remove the status condition, because those are the 3 conditions that we typically put in. There could be other conditions as well, which I can address and talk on one-on-one with you as well. If you've got a question on any conditions, then we do. I'm going to cover this 7 and 8 step and go to the chat box again. If there's any questions, put it in the chat. I will address, or you can raise your hand. I can, bring you online and you can ask me question verbally as well. So once those conditions are waived or met, then it becomes a firm deal. There are no conditions remaining. That means it's a legal binding you have to close. Then you start beginning your closing preparations, like arranging your home insurance, booking your movers, transferring utilities, giving notice to your landlord wherever you're renting and living right now. So you guys can kind of be able to move for that date that you have, closing you're doing for the property, right? So next step, closing preparation. Your lawyer on the closing date or just before is going to conduct a title search for the property to make sure everything's clear with the title. He's going to prepare statement of adjustments for you. He's going to calculate land transfer tax for you. And then you provide your remaining down payment, closing costs to the lawyer, legal fees to the lawyer, right? And very important thing, once the offer is firm, there are no conditions remaining, then you cannot back out, because the backing out at that time could cause serious legal consequences. So I want to make it very clear, when you're moving your conditions, you are moving forward with the purchase, right? That's what the idea is there. So that's the home buying process in a summary that I wanted to capture and everybody to know that. That's why I covered step by step. Any questions on any steps you have, let me go to the chat and just see if there's any questions there. Happy to help with any questions you have. Okay, look like we got one question. Bhavtoj is asking, what if I don't buy the house through you after signing that? Yes, Bhavtoj, that's a problem because you cannot, if you signed a buyer representation agreement with me, you are basically locked in with me, right? For whatever time period that is, and that's agreed between you and me. If you go and buy a house through some other agent, then that's a problem because then definitely something went wrong there in me not explaining it to you how the representation works. Because what will happen in that case is that I will not get compensated anything. The other agent would get compensated, but I will have the obligation to go after that agent because you signed it with me, okay, to the board, and board will have to talk to that agent and get me compensated. You know what I mean? That's the idea there. And what I say to my people is, right, be honest, be loyal to each other, right? Because if you're loyal to your agent, I will be loyal to you 10 times more, right? So be transparent. If you see something is not matching or some services you're not getting from me, say so. Then if I can improve, at least there is a way to cancel that agreement, right? So we can always sign a cancellation. There's no option there. No, sorry, there's no obligation there that we can't cancel. We can cancel that agreement. It's the mutual agreement. If you sign and I sign, but if something doesn't work out, we look at it in 2 weeks and say, well, no, things are not working out or something changed, then you can move out. No problem at all. At any time, we can cancel that agreement. Okay. I hope I answered your question there. But feel free put more questions in the chat. We'll go back to the chat again in a little bit. Yeah, there's a few more things. Closing day, what happens after you purchase the home? Funds get transferred from you to your lawyer to seller's lawyer to seller. That's what happens. Title gets registered to your name. You get keys from your lawyer. Basically, that's what happens on a closing day. Budget for closing costs. I can run that exact numbers and tell you how much that number will be. But typically it's anywhere from 1.5% to 4% of the purchase price. But if you book a meeting with me, I will walk you through. There are some calculators on my website that you have free access to. You can play around with it. It will tell you what your land transfer tax will be. And there is a Ontario land transfer tax and there is Toronto land transfer tax. If you buy a property in Toronto, you get you have to pay Toronto land transfer tax as well. That's charged by the city. Ontario is basically charged by the province. But if you buy a home outside Toronto, for example, in Mississauga or in Vaughan or in Pickering, you pay only one tax, that only Ontario land transfer tax. You do not pay Toronto land transfer tax. But as a first time home buyer, I'm going to talk about what rebates you get down the road in the presentation. So you do get basically first time home buyers land transfer tax rebate. So you don't pay a full amount, even though you will have to pay a small portion, but that rebate kicks in as a first time home buyer. You get a rebate for Ontario land transfer tax, you get a rebate for Toronto land transfer tax. And then I can play around with that calculator and show it to you after the presentation is over as well. No problem there. Legal, that covers your legal fees, which is your lawyer fees, title insurance fees, because your title has to be insured for the property. That's a mandatory thing. Any adjustments is basically any utility bills paid by the seller that you are responsible for depending on the closing date. For example, the closing date is 15th of the month and the seller has paid property tax for the whole month. Then you have to pay property tax for 15 days to the seller, right? That's what adjustments mean, really, in a nutshell. Home insurance, you have to get that home insurance in place before you get the keys, right? And very important rules: no job changes before the closing, no large credit purchases. Don't go and buy a brand new car. That's not right. Move fast during conditional period. That's also, let's take our time, work through our conditional period, review numbers before waiving conditions, right? So we talk about all the numbers up front. That's where I sit down with you one-on-one and we talk through, okay, if you buy a home for $600,000, what is your monthly payments going to be, right? What is your closing costs going to be? I will show you that. What will be your monthly payment, how much will be the mortgage, how much will be the property tax, how much will be the utility. So I'll give you all those numbers up front. So you know moving into that house, how much it's going to cost you per month, right? So that's what my job is, to explain it to you, okay? Yep, so that's basically the home buying steps. So getting you pre-approval, as I said, is kind of very, very important for mortgage pre-approval. What is the pre-approval? Pre-approval is an official document that says that a bank or a credit union or a lender is willing to lend you a specific amount of money based on your income, assets, and liabilities, right? That's what they do. How do you start the process? You basically, talk to a mortgage advisor or a mortgage broker. You submit all these documents listed in the right side of the slide that I'm sharing. Driver's license, your SIN number, your home address, your cell number, email address, etc., and your employment details, right? Your employment letter, your pay stubs, and then you do submit your list of assets like your bank account balances, stuff like that, properties and vehicles owned, confirmation of income you have to provide, which would be notice of assessment, could be T1 statement, could be pay stubs, right? So every lender has a different requirements, but in general, these are the things, documents you submit to the mortgage advisor, and they will basically submit and then come back with a pre-approval for you and say, okay, you are pre-approved to buy a property for 800,000, for example, okay? Why is pre-approval important? You will know exactly how much you can afford, right? You get the best financing, so you can at that time know what the rate is gonna be, right? You know what I mean? And you can even negotiate and make a better or a stronger offer because you're already pre-approved. You know that your mortgage will not be held up or have an issue, okay? From seller perspective, consider these two offers, right? Let's say the home is very beautiful, and there are two buyers looking to buy a home. And you are buyer one with a pre-approved home loan, and buyer two is not pre-approved. And both have the same offer price. Let's say both of them offer 850,000. But buyer one puts in a cash offer, no financing condition. But buyer two put a conditional offer upon financing. As a seller, which one would you accept? Obviously, buyer one offer, because it's not conditional. He will get the home sold right away, 100% firm. There's no conditions remaining. With the buyer two, he will have to wait for those conditions to be met, that period, and if financing falls through, that'll be a problem, right? Then the property will be coming back on the market. So sellers like with lesser conditions or no conditions on the offer versus a conditional if you're in competition, okay? Just making that clear. Because I recently had an example in Mississauga. We had a home we liked and listed for 700,000. We put an offer, my buyer and me, 750,000, but it was conditional. But somebody else put in an offer for 800,000, no condition. I mean, obviously they won because they paid more too, but even their offer had no conditions. So their property was sold right that night, okay? Finding your dream home, like how do I help you finding your dream home? How do other real estate agents do, and how do I do it? So I just want to share that because this is a very important step. Other realtors, they will make a random search in the MLS system, which is multiple listing system that we have. They pick 6 to 8 homes. They try to sell you one of them. But actually, what is the reason is the wrong person is deciding which home you should get to see, right? How I do it, I've got a one-of-a-kind buyer profile system. What does this mean? I set up your home buying criteria in our computer database, right? That's what I do. Every day, our computer database searches into the MLS to find homes matching your specific criteria, and any homes matching your criteria will be emailed to you right away. It's not only once a day, it's done anytime new property comes on the market. Let's say it came on 12 o'clock today afternoon, it will be emailed to you 12:01, because that's how my computer system is looking for those properties. It will be emailed to you right away. You can look at those homes in the email. You can pick the homes you like. You can drive by them. when you see a home you want to look at, just give me a call for me to arrange a showing, or text me, and then I will be happy to book. But there is no pressure to buy. I'm not deciding a house for you. You are able to decide a house on your own, right? Basically, searching that. And you won't miss even a single property. The other point is you will be able to negotiate a better price as well, because you will be the first one to look at the property. If you like it, you're going to call me, Gautam, I want to see this property tomorrow. We go look at it, we like it, we can put an offer right away. So we are avoiding the competition, right? And you don't miss any property coming on the market that you won't see. Okay. All right. So in this whole process, you are in control. There's no more searching online. You don't have to look for homes online yourself. Every listing coming on the market will be sent to you. There's no more pressure. I'm not the one picking homes for you and saying these are the 6 homes that you should look at. You guys pick your own home that you want to see, right? There's no more overpaying for the home you want, because you're going to beat out other buyers, because you can negotiate best possible price, because you're going to go in first, right? That's the idea there. When you're ready to make an offer on your dream home, we will discuss the strategy, which we'll talk about what should be the offer price. I will guide you with that process. What should be the financing terms in the offer? What should be interest rates? What should be cost to close? Possession dates, inspection details. I will walk you through every step, and walk you through all the required things that I need to do. That's my job, right? Basically. I'm just gonna quickly go to chat just to see if there's any questions in there. Okay, I've got a question. Do you offer any exceptions to signing a buyer representation agreement? I'm concerned that signing one may limit my ability to explore other properties and opportunities. Okay, I'm not sure I'm getting your question right, but let me tell you, my every agent has got same MLS system that we pull the properties from. So you will not be missing any property that is coming on the market. My website's looking at it every second. Any new property coming on the market, you will be able to see it, as long as you give me the true criteria of the home you're looking for. I'm looking for Gautam in Mississauga, or I'm looking for in Vaughan, but I'm not looking for all in Vaughan. I'm looking for a place called Kleinberg, or a neighborhood called Kleinberg. If you are more specific, that will help me sending you properties. Well, I don't want to see any home over 800,000, because that's what I've got pre-approval for. I want a 3-bedroom home. I want a finished basement. You have to give me all those details, and then I will put that search criteria in my database. You get exactly those homes, and you would get emails sent to you depending on how often those kind of homes are coming on the market, whether it's once a day, whether it's 5 times a day, whether it's once a week. It all depends on how many properties are coming on the market, but you won't miss any. Every property will be coming to you in an email. That's the idea there, right? Um, the other exception on the agreement you can do is we can sign it for a shorter period of time, right? Or we can sign for one particular neighborhood. We can even narrow that down to one property. If you want to see only one home through me, I will basically sign a buyer representation agreement with you for one property. The idea would be that you go through me if you see that property, and then you go through me if you're putting an offer on that property, but you're free to look at other properties with other people, right? So those are some of the exceptions that we can talk about. But like I said, I get only paid at the closing, right? In the end. So I'm investing all the time to walk you through a process. That's why I mentioned word being loyal to each other, right? If you don't like my services, you need to be upfront for that and tell me that okay, I'm not liking your services. We need to, we can't be into a relationship. Then we should part away, and I should cancel the agreement. No problem at all. Next question. So is there that has any time frame? There is no fixed time frame. I have got a buyer representation agreement. People have signed for 3 months because they want me to represent them until the closing is over, right? Because any questions they have, any challenges they have, lawyers telling them this, what does that mean? They can come back to me. I can explain it to them, right? Just through the whole process. So I've got agreement signed by buyers 3 months 2 months. I have agreement signed 1 month also, because somebody was in rush to buy a home. And I have I have a client who signed the buyer representation agreement until end of the year, because they said, Gautam, we're going to start the process now, but we are not going to rush through the process because they are waiting for some money coming from back home and stuff. So they might take 2-3 months to find a home, and then there will be a closing date, right? So hence they've signed until the end of the year. So, but there is no fixed time frame. You can sign that for a day, for a week, for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, whatever. Okay. I hope I answered that question. Rohit's asking a question. Part of our down payment is abroad. How long does the money have to sit in a Canadian account before we can use it? Typically, banks and lenders look for 90 days consistency, that their bank money should be in your account, right? But there are some exceptions to that. Some lenders would be okay with somebody gifting you a money, but that has to be somebody in your relationship, your family, or something like that as well. As long as that letter is provided, like CIBC's got a letter that you get. I had a client who had an approval, but he had to take some help from the family. But as long as there was a promissory letter that CIBC provided us, a template that was signed by a person who was giving the money to this buyer, had both signed, and that letter was fine and sufficient. Then he didn't have to have that money, portion of the money, sit in their bank account for 90 days. But typical timeline for a lender or a bank is to see 90 days history, that is your money, because that gives them that confidence. Then they're not saying, well, you're just trying to buy in somebody home because you just got some quick money from somebody. You know what I mean? Very good questions. Thank you very much for the questions. I like those questions because that helps everybody, right? Typically. And if even more questions, keep putting in the chat. I'll keep going through back and forth. This was the last question I have now. I'm going to go back to presentation, then we'll come back here. And I'm going to talk about first time home buyer rebates and what concessions you get as well, but I'll walk you through that too. Another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my meeting booking link again. Just a quick reminder in the chat that you can book one-on-one, no obligation virtual meeting with me, where we can talk one-on-one scenarios, because everybody's situation is different, right? Somebody could be ready to buy a home today. Somebody might not be ready to buy a home today. They might be able to buy in 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be. I've had clients that I've been working with for last 1 year that still I'm working through, and some things they're kind of, no, Gautam, I need some more time. I need this, I need that. And some people have come through quick as possible, is they came in a week and they bought a home, and within 1 month they got a closing and they moved into the home within a month, right? So everybody's timelines, situations, financial situation is different. And I understand that. I don't want to be exposing everybody's financial situation here. That's not the idea here. That's why the stage is set for you to book one-on-one meeting. No obligation again. You're not signing anything. We're just discussing and talking, and I'm answering your questions, walking you through the process. If any step I missed or I didn't clarify, you can ask me any questions in that meeting, and then we will move forward and see if I'm ready to help you. If the discussion is that you're not ready, things are not working, we will part away and move on. And maybe you will be ready in 6 months. Then we can connect back in 6 months. Okay. So I shared my Calendly link. You can book that one-on-one virtual meeting. Okay. Let me go to the thing. Okay, offer presentation and negotiation. We talked about that. I said I will help you prepare the offer with terms, stipulation, provisions, amendments, exhibits, etc. Personally present the offer on your behalf to the seller, negotiate all the terms and conditions and the best price to protect you. Basically, I'm going to be representing you in the transaction, not the seller. Seller will have their own agent, but I will be protecting you from anything. That's what my interest is there. Okay. Our sales team, basically my whole team, we've been doing this for a long time. We are completely familiar with the whole local market. We know all the zoning laws, construction laws, real estate development laws. We regularly attend training, educated by our seminars offered by our real estate board, and ORIA, which is Ontario Real Estate Association. We attend regular trainings on regular basis, right? So that's the idea there. we have all the technology equipment to help you and support you through the whole process. Okay, that's what I want to kind of mention. Guarantees. So as I do offer some guarantees as well, which I give it to clients in writing. First one is love your new home guaranteed, or I will sell it at a discount for you. So this is basically that I stand by our representation and a decision to buy your home. If you're dissatisfied for whatever reason, you bought a home in rush and later on you realize, well, no, it wasn't the right move. It is not the right home for you. Within first year of ownership, I will sell and that home at a discounted price for you, right? As a seller, you pay the commission, but I will discount that commission for you. That's my guarantee to you, right? Just to make things right for you. Honest promises guaranteed. Same thing. I give this in writing and saying, I'm not going to promise the moon and the stars to you, right? Basically, what I'm trying to do is be as transparent as possible, walk you through the whole process, and that's how I operate, right? And also, I will not tell you something I cannot deliver. I will tell you in clear language and explain you very well. If we have to hop on Zoom call for 10 times, like I had a client who bought a home yesterday. The lawyer called her because her closing date is in August, and lawyers called her and giving her some fees and all that. She's like, Gautam, I want to understand. I said, okay, let's get on a quick Zoom call and I can walk you through with every number and every step. I had a Zoom call yesterday evening and we spoke probably like literally 10 minutes, but I explained her, walked her through Excel file and said, this is how the numbers going to work. This is what lawyer is trying to tell you. And she understood and moved on. You know what I mean? So my services are here that I want to be transparent. I want you to know the process with me. I'm not going to be hiding anything. I'm not going to, promise you things that I can't deliver, right? That's the bottom line idea here. Closing. Okay. Our expert help, basically, again, as I said, I've been doing this for a long time. I can help you with real estate lawyers, right? If you have got real estate lawyer yourself, fine, no problem. But I have a couple of lawyers that I work with. I refer my clients to them. You work with them, both of them. You can get prices from both of them and compare and see who you want to work with. Fine with me, no problem at all. Home inspectors, I have inspectors on my phone dial. I can connect you with a home inspector when we do the home inspection. Appraisers, I have contacts, title insurance companies and things like that. So you basically get the whole expert help, not only just me when you're buying the home. Okay, I'm able to help you through the whole process. What they cause, I mean, I do make money from real estate and I do donate. So just so you understand some of the charities that I support, one is Sick Kids. Portion of my income goes to Sick Kids every month. So that's the idea there. Covenant House, I support as well in Toronto. They support youths who go through abuse and stuff like that. So I do support Covenant House in Toronto as well. Every month I do donate to both of these charities. Okay, so you kind of clear. That's kind of the worthy cause as well, right? So um, a referral program, I do have referral program as well, that if you refer a friend or relative or somebody and they buy a home through me, they get a cash gift of $500 from me. Okay, that's what I promise to you. And everybody knows some people who want to buy, right? And you, all your idea is basically you connect me to them, and if they buy and work through, then you get paid, right? That's what I offer as well. um yeah, and all I ask, like I said in this slide as well, all I'm looking for is you being loyal to me. If you're not happy with something, come up front, say that, right? You know what I mean? My idea is not you to rush you through the process, right? If you're not ready, I will say so that you are not ready at this moment. You need to save more money. You should do this. Wait for 6 months and do that. That's what I kind of suggest. And I've done that for a lot of clients where they said, well, I'm ready. And I said, no, you're not, right? You know what I mean? So sometimes an independent person can guide them through the process. So that's why I said, you know, my, I get you pre-qualified for the special financing or mortgage approval. I get access to best new listings before anybody else gets them. I get you priority access to off-market properties. That's another advantage to work with me is I can get you access to properties which are not found online. They're not even on the market, those homes. And I'll give you this example that how do I do that? I do basically advertise and get access to those properties for you. If you tell me a neighborhood you're looking for, the type of home you're looking for, I can get you those offline properties where we can negotiate one-on-one. The more property doesn't even come on the market. I had a client last year that I had represented. They were looking for a townhouse here in Kleinburg area where I live. So I kind of basically, and they were looking for in particular neighborhood, right, in Kleinburg. And then I ended up basically putting my ad through into that neighborhood, got some people calling me, and they're like, well, Gautam, we are thinking of selling, but we're not ready yet. And then I was able to show that one home to my client because that I think met 90% of the criteria that my buyer was looking for. And we were able to negotiate that one-on-one. The property never even came on the market. It got closed offline. Okay. So I have access to that. When you book that one-on-one meeting, ask me that question. I'll be able to explain you how that process works. Okay. It's a little bit different because that property is not online, but I can help you with that too. My team is specialized with all market knowledge. All team knows they're using latest and greatest technology. We've got priority access to affiliates like lawyers I talked about, inspectors and things like that to support you. I give written satisfaction guarantee that ensures that you're satisfied with your system, right? So if you're not satisfied for whatever reason, then I give free cancellation guarantee anytime. Okay, that's the idea there. Okay, some rebate programs. I think I'm pretty much getting close to ending my presentation, but let's quickly go through these rebates as a first-time home buyers. Number one, first home savings account. This was introduced a few years back. Basically, what this is tax deductible account for first-time buyers. You can withdraw for a qualifying first home tax-free, right? It's about $8,000 you guys can annually contribute towards that. Total $40,000 lifetime. You can carry forward. There are some rules around that. 1 year carry forward up to $8,000, right? Who qualifies? Canadian first-time home buyers. How to apply? You open an FHSA account at any bank or your online brokers, then they will, provide you options there, okay? And you can combine, if you've got yourself and your wife, you both get 40 and 40, you can combine that benefit and save up to 80,000 and take it out tax-free and use it towards as your down payment, okay? There's no repayment required for this. That's one very good account that came out. Home buyers plan RRSP withdrawal. You can withdraw up to $60,000 from your RRSPs to help buy a first home. And this is per person, but this is repayable back to RRSP over 15 years. There's annual minimum that applies, okay? But that 60,000 per person is the key limit. Who qualifies again? First-time home buyers. How to apply? You kind of work with your RRSP issuer. There's some forms you need to fill, and you're able to get that. Okay. Other things, first-time home buyers tax credit, you get that also. If you want any more details on any of these programs, yes, book that call with me. Happy to walk you through and help you. Federal GST, HST, new home rebates, you get that as well, right? 13% rebate that was introduced this year if you buy a pre-construction home. CMSC Homestar mortgage insurance options first-time buyers. Yeah, if you are paying less than 20%, you can still buy. You will pay mortgage insurance, which is called CMSC insurance. You have that option as well. So you don't have to have 20% down payment to buy your first home. You can buy it with less than 20%. Okay. Land transfer tax rebate. I touched on that a little bit when I was going through presentation. So you have to pay less. I can show you through my website as well. Toronto municipal land transfer tax rebate, same thing as Ontario land transfer. As I said, if you buy a property in Toronto, you're going to pay Ontario land transfer tax and Toronto, but you get both rebates as well. Okay. So pretty much, I think I'm end of my presentation. Thank you for your time today. I'm gonna go to the chat again and answer your questions. And also my idea here is to guide you, walk you through the process. Hopefully you got some knowledge. But again, if you have questions, put it in the chat. Book a meeting with me one-on-one. There is no obligation, as I said, can help you through one-on-one and through that meeting. Okay. Also, other things, just I help a lot of people by investing in real estate as well. It's not only that people buy homes to live. I help a lot of them people with real estate investments as well. This is my real estate portfolio, that properties I own. I support buying investment properties, which are multiplex properties in North Bay, Ontario, which is about 3 hours drive from Vaughan, where I live right now. 3.5 hours from Toronto, if you want to kind of know exactly that. Like the top property is a sixplex. There is 3 units in the left building, 3 units in the right building that I purchased 5 years ago in North Bay. There's 3 tenants here, 3 tenants fully rented, positive cash flowing properties after paying the property management, after paying property taxes, after paying all maintenance and expenses. These are positive cash flowing properties, right? And I can introduce you to that. You can book one-on-one session with me if somebody was interested in that. I can walk you through that as well. Okay. Duplex property on the left side bottom is mine in Toronto. I have this duplex semi-detached home I bought from a builder 4 years ago. Both units are rented right now, so that's where I kind of, this left side home is kind of mine. This single family home I own in Whitby, Ontario. So that's where I have a single family living there as rental property in Whitby. These other properties I have in North Bay as well. You see a lot of snow. Yes, this picture is from winter. This one is a fiveplex. There are 5 units, legal units in the building. These are 5 legal units. So there are 5 independent tenants living in the building, paying me rents, positive cash flow again. This is a triplex. There is 3 units here. You can see the 2 door. One door is for the main floor. Second door takes you to the second floor. Then there's stairs going from the back to the third unit on the top floor. Triplex, yeah, I paid 475K for this triplex. Very good cash flowing machine, this property. Again, bottom left, triplex, 3 units again in this building. Then there's 3 units in this building as well in North Bay. This is what I own. And I help a lot of clients here living in Toronto, GTA, to buy these investment properties in North Bay as well. Like some of the home investors, this is not everything, but this is just few of them I put in, like the top duplex. Somebody bought for 285K, legal 2 units, fully rented, positive cash flow. Fourplex for 440K, positive cash flow again, 4 units in the building. Triplex, 3 units in this property, 410K, that's what my client paid. This one, triplex, 547,000 they bought for, legal 3 units again in this property, okay? And another lady from Brampton paid 325K for this duplex, and now actually she converted this into triplex, I believe, this building. She's done some renovations and stuff, okay? This is last slide. Let me go back to the chat and see if there's somebody's got any questions. But the idea is book a meeting, no obligation again, can help you with investment portfolio as well. If you got any questions, yes. Thank you very much for your time today. I know it's exactly, I think 7:58, and that's what my idea was for the hour. Hopefully you got some value out of that. I will stay on for a few more minutes. If you want to come offline, come off mute and ask your questions verbally live, happy to help you with that too, no problem at all. But otherwise, the idea is book a meeting, no obligation, virtual meeting. It's just worth having a conversation, okay? I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Okay, I see some people here. Anybody want to come off mute and ask me any questions? The other thing I can quickly share as well is the website, which has my calculators. But again, as I said, book a meeting, I'll walk you through my website where it has exactly calculators can tell you what your land transfer tax will be, what is the rebate you're getting, how much your mortgage will be based on the amount and things like that. I can walk you through that. No problem whatsoever. Any final questions before we wrap up? It's 7:59. Anybody's got any final questions, comments? Thank you for your time today. Hopefully you got some value out of the session. That's what I was trying to do here today. I do investors webinar as well, where I kind of basically help people understand how these investment properties work, how do the cash flow works in that, how do you mean to buy those properties and kind of stay with the positive cash flow, okay? I do that separately. All right, if no more questions, I don't see any more questions in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Everybody, again, book a one-on-one virtual meeting. I put a link in the chat again, and then you guys can just, get access to my Calendly link and book the meeting, and then we can meet you on the other side. Okay? Thank you. Everybody has a nice evening. Good night. I'm gonna end the meeting now. Thank you.